Hey, if you want a 36 on your next ACT, then stop scrolling and listen up. Hi, my name is Chioma. I got a 36 on ACT, and I'll give you 5 tips in order for you to get your dream score on your next test. First tip is to take a practice test to see where your baseline is. This will help you so much in studying because you'll see where your strengths and weaknesses is, and you'll see where your overall baseline score is. So if you're someone with a naturally high baseline of, let's say, a 29, you wouldn't need to study as much, and you would focus more on refining small mistakes and making sure that you can get your score up into the 34 plus zone. However, if you're someone whose baseline is lower, like in the teens, then you need to work more on the fundamental skills of each section of the ACT, and you probably need to work on the basics before working on smaller mistakes and refining it. You can take a practice test by looking up one online, or you can take a practice test on paper using the ACT books that they sell on Amazon. Second tip I would say is space out your practice. The ACT isn't the type of test where you can just cram in one day and do well. You have to be able to consistently study over long periods of time, such as weeks or even months. This means that you want to plan ahead and make sure that you have time each week so that you can practice, take a practice test, and slowly build up your skills over time so you'll be ready for the test. Tip number 3 would be to make sure to test in an environment that can mimic the real test. What I mean by that is that when you're practicing, you don't want to just give yourself an infinite amount of time because on the test, you're only going to have a set amount of time for each section. So make sure you test under those conditions so you can get accustomed to how much time you'll have and how fast or slow you need to go depending on each section. For example, the English section is 50 questions in only 35 minutes, which gives you less than a minute per question. So being able to test under these conditions will make you better prepared for the actual test. This is one of the biggest problems I hear when people take the ACT. It's not that they're underprepared, they just haven't worked under those time crunches. So once they're taking it, a lot of time they run out of time without finishing questions and they have to rush at the end. Fourth tip is to make sure to review your mistakes. Obviously, taking practice tests are super helpful, but it's only truly beneficial if you're able to review your mistakes after each test. By reviewing your mistakes, you're seeing the concepts that you're still shaky on, and you're able to better reinforce the right concepts in your head so that the next time you take a practice test, you won't make those same mistakes again. I recommend keeping a log of all your mistakes so it's easy for you to look back and review as you're going through your studying, and it's easier for you to see what areas you're getting wrong and which areas you can improve on. And I would say the 5th tip is just to make sure to stay calm on testing day. Every single version of the ACT is slightly different, and some version you might come across a difficult problem. However, don't panic. All panicking will do is just make you waste time and get yourself in a frustrated state, and in a state you won't be able to focus.